Hey guys, how you doing? It's Art from Art's Model Trains. So I got to try out two different lighting systems in a control tower kit I put together a couple months ago. And I want to talk you guys through the two different lighting systems I used, the advantages and disadvantages of each of them, and let you guys decide which one you think is better. So a couple of weeks ago, I was putting together that control tower. And as part of putting that kit together, I wanted to light the interior and exterior. And I got an opportunity to try not only using Woodland Scenics lighting to do that, but I also got the Dwarven lighting system from trains.com to give that a shot. I put similar lights from both sets into that building so that I could show you guys how each one works, and you can decide for yourselves which one looks better. So first, the kit itself is a control tower from Atlas that I picked up off of Trains. It is a kit, so it comes in a bunch of pieces. You have to glue it together. It really wasn't that difficult. Took a few hours over a couple of days just letting it dry between steps. And I'll put a separate video together about that process. To light the building, I used two different options. First, from Woodland Scenics, I picked up an expansion hub, a little LED for the interior of the building, and a gooseneck lamp for over one of the doorways on the exterior. From Dwarven, I used, and this is just one of the packages it comes with, I used just a filament, a fiber optic filament to light the interior of the building, and a similar gooseneck light for one of the other doorways. So you'll be able to compare the lights for both applications, so you can see which one is better and which application. And I'll also talk to you about the installation of both, because there was a big difference in that as well. So speaking of installation, in case you guys aren't familiar with the Dwarven light system, it is lighting without wires. It actually uses fiber optics to create the light instead of using wires like Woodland Scenics or other common lighting products. And what makes this interesting is it has a light box that you put underneath your layout, and you run these fiber optic cables into that, and those just go directly to the lights, and that's it. There's no extra wires, nothing to be spliced together, anything like that. It's very simple. In fact, at one point I had some things kind of twisted up. I just pull the filament out of the light box, untwist things, slide the filament right back in, and I'm all set. Much easier than I would have had to do that if I was wiring. I would have had to take that out of a distribution block or out of one of these ports, unwind everything, and put it back together. So let me get you guys off the stand. I'll bring you in close, show you the building, show you the lights themselves, where I used which lighting system, and help you guys understand, like I said, the differences between the lighting systems themselves and the installation process. And you guys can decide which one you like better. Okay, so let's talk about what I used where. So first, this light post here is actually one of the Dwarven light posts. You can see, pretty cool. Just standing there on its own. It's just, like I said, the fiber optic just runs right up to the top. In this building itself, I have lighting on the first floor and the second floor. And on the exterior, I used two different lights on this side and one of the Woodland Scenics on the other side. So first, on the second floor, interior-wise, I used the LED from Woodland Scenics. And then on the second floor stairs here, with Scott Griggs kind of standing on the platform there, I used the gooseneck from Dwarvin Lighting. And then down here and on the door on the other side, I used the Woodland Scenics gooseneck light. As you can see, they give off similar lighting on the exterior and the interior. And then on the bottom floor, you can see a good view here. That is just a fiber optic piece coming through the table to light the first floor. What I'm going to do now is actually turn off some of the lighting over the train tables so you guys can get a better view of what this looks like in the dark and a good understanding of how much light each of these throw off. So as I said, the light on the bottom is the Woodland Scenics light, and the light on the outside on the top floor is the Dwarven light. And then inside, the second floor is Woodland Scenics, and the first floor is the Dwarven fiber. And I do, there are clear windows on the second floor, and those are shaded windows on the first floor. I used some vellum over the windows there to create that look. And then on the back side of the building here, you can So let's talk a little bit about some of the advantages or disadvantages of either light system. So first, as I mentioned with the Dwarven system, it is a fiber optic system, so it was very easy to work with on the lighting. Not a lot of hassle pulling the wires or playing with thin wires. But the one place where I did have to play around a little bit was to get this gooseneck light on the second floor. I was trying to run all the wires down the chimney inside the building there, which I think you can kind of make out through the window there. And that wouldn't work for the fiber optic wire. And as you can see, it's there just through that third window. I had to create a separate hole for that just because I could not bend the fiber optic filament that tightly to go down the chimney itself. That was one of the advantages of the Woodland Scenics lighting system, is that it's just a wire that was easily fed down the chimney. The disadvantage, though, is the Woodland Scenics lights, especially this gooseneck light on the first floor, has an extremely thin wire, and it was extremely difficult to glue that light in place and work with those thin wires. Whereas the gooseneck light on the Dwarven system, I'll take a photo of it, has a very nice neck to the gooseneck light, which I was able to drill a hole in the building, slide that neck through, and not even have to glue it. It just holds right in place. The other thing I liked about the Dwarven system versus the Woodland Scenics light is the Woodland Scenics light angles back towards the building, whereas the Dwarven one kind of drops straight down. So I felt like it gave a better light to the exterior of the building versus shining back onto the building. And as you can see, it's also a little more of a soft white versus a bright white light when it comes out. The Woodland Scenics interior light, though, I do think does a better job than just the filament coming up through the table. I might have to put a second filament up a little further back in the building to even the lighting out. The other advantage is with the Woodland Scenic system, you can twist the knob a little bit on the port and actually turn the lighting up and down. This one probably needs to be turned down just a little bit. And then again, for the lamp post out here, this was very simple. I just drilled a hole, dropped the post through the table, and ran the filament underneath. So again, I'll show you quickly here the gooseneck on the Dwarven light system had this extra little straight piece here, made it really easy. Drilled a hole, slid that right through the hole. It anchored very well on the building. And again, I like the way this is 90 degrees, shining straight down, gave off a nice light outside the building. Just, the one thing you got to remember is the filament will not bend 90 degrees inside the building. You just have to give it a little bit of room to arc through to go back down through the table. And then here's one of those lamp posts again. This is the second one in the package. Let me turn this around so you can see it from behind here without some glare. But it's another light post. And again, the filament is just built in already, and you just slide that through the table. Very easy to install and use. So I think there's an advantage and a disadvantage to each lighting system. I do like the Woodland Scenics lighting on the interior light. I think having that little single LED gave off more light evenly throughout the building. I was able to position it in the right way and glue it right to the ceiling, and then controlling it through the port using the knob to be able to control the brightness really made a difference. But I do like the street lamps and the gooseneck lights from Dwarven. I thought they were excellent, and they gave off, like I said, first of all, just the shape of the light themselves, but I feel like they gave off more of a yellowish soft light glow versus some of the more bright white from Woodland Scenics. The temperature of the light, I guess you could say, it was different. So I think there's advantages and disadvantages, and probably different use cases. You can use different lighting, which is good because we all have different layouts. We all have different situations that we're dealing with, and having different lighting systems that we could add to our layout in order to take advantage of the strengths of those lighting systems really makes it better for us as modelers, right? To be able to create the look we're going after. And, I'm hoping to add the Dwarven system and the Woodland Scenic system both together into more buildings on this side of the layout as I build this out. So you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think of each lighting system? Which one do you use on your layout? Have you tried the Dwarven system? I think you should give it a try if you haven't. It is pretty cool. Like I said, very easy to work with compared to some of those thin wires on the Woodland Scenic stuff, which really was very frustrating at times. But let me know in the comments, guys, which one do you prefer? If you've used both, what do you see as the advantage and disadvantage? And if you haven't tried the Dwarven system, I think you should give it a shot. Like I said, some of the unique features that it has offer some unique opportunities to light things in a different way. Just that fiber optics alone, just the plain fiber, can be used in many different situations to create really cool lighting effects. Even with the fiber optics, you're able to use their system to create that blinking effect for railroad crossings and dwarf signals along the track. So a lot of different options with that set as well. It's not just limited to building lighting. Thanks guys for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.